What's going on, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Ducks Dish podcast. I'm your host, Max Torres with Scoop Duck on 3, coming to you on Friday, September 19th, 2025. The number 6 Oregon Ducks return to Eugene to face the rival Oregon State Beavers. But before we get to the game, we got a recruiting episode of the pod for you guys. I know how much you love to follow Oregon recruiting, and I got a very special guest on to talk about a future Oregon Duck, and that is Jacob Gill. He is the defensive coordinator at the First Academy out there in Florida. Coach, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Happy to be here. Love talking about our guys who are fortunate to have earned an opportunity to play at the next level. Obviously, Devin's a special one. Could talk about him for a long time. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So before we talk about Devin a bit more, obviously he's the focus. And what's going on over there in Florida for you?
Yeah, I heard the back half of your question, but I think you're asking kind of for just a general update here.
Just your background as a
Yeah,
coach and
gotcha.
how the season's going.
Yeah. I'm in my 15th year coaching. I started my coaching career in Northwest Arkansas. Coached at my alma mater there um, as a position coach for 2 years, as a coordinator for 2 years. Took another job, was at Springdale High School for 3 years, and then to Shiloh Christian School, which is in the same city as Springdale, and coached there for six. That's where I met up with Coach Conaway, who's our head coach here in Florida. He was the head coach there. I left, took a head coaching job in Nashville for a year. Coach Conaway left that same year, came down to Florida to the First Academy. And then I got hired after his first year here. And so we're going into our second season. We're about halfway through our second season down here in Florida.
Very cool. All right. So you're well traveled as most
Yeah.
coaches tend to be these days. So that's awesome getting to see a lot of the country. Let's talk a bit about Devin here. So obviously we're talking about the First Academy safety, Devin Jackson, former Florida commit who ended up committing to Dan Lanning and the Ducks earlier on this summer. Let's just start off, Coach, with Devin the person. What's Devin like as a young man and being around him?
Oh man, he's awesome. He's not um, like a loud and boisterous kind of guy. He's kind of reserved, but he goes about his business in the classroom, on the field, always finding ways to get extra work in. We challenge our guys. We treat this like a job. Like you want to be a professional. Be one. And I think Devin probably exemplifies that probably better than most on our team. He's always watching film. He's always getting extra work in. He's always finding time to go get treatment. He's always, um, we're big on refuel, rehydrate, replenish. Takes care of his body in and out of season. But just a great kid. Um, Everyone on the team loves him. You should see him if you follow any of his social media stuff. He's like we make the joke. He's the mayor of Orlando down here. Wherever Devin goes, a crowd follows, and he's done a great job of. He organized a community backpack giveaway this summer to help some local elementary kids have what they needed to get back into school. He tends to hit up at least one or two youth league football games somewhere in the city every weekend to just go support. He was one of those kids at one time that was playing youth football in Orlando, and he's been fortunate and blessed to have an opportunity like going to Oregon. And if you talk to him, man, he wants to give back to Orlando. He loves the city, he loves the people, he loves the kids, and the city feels the same way about him.
That's great stuff. Sounds like he's got an awesome head on his shoulders and is made of the right stuff. We love to hear about giving back to the community, paying it forward to the
Yep.
next generation. That's an awesome part of his story, and good to get some background on him as a person, because I feel like in today's age of modern media, especially with football recruiting, we're just talking about the stars and the offers and the visits, but
Yeah.
good to hear about who Devin is as a person. I did have a recent interview with him because he visited Oregon for the Oklahoma State game a couple weeks ago. So if you guys haven't read that, you can read that over on Scoop Duck. Give us a read and check us out for just $1 to get your membership started. Coach, let's talk a little bit more about Devin, the player now. The guy is up heading out to Eugene to play his college football. What's kind of your coach's take on Devin as a player?
Yeah, I think obviously he's got the prerequisites to play at that level and play in that program. He's every bit of 6'2". He's 195, strong, can run. But I think when you get into the scheme and you get into the fit, again, I know from talking with some of the guys at Oregon and even what we talk about here in our program is the amount of versatility that Devin has is what's going to help him get on the field and contribute when he gets to Oregon. He's very good in coverage. He can play middle of the field safety. He can play half safety. He can play quarters. He can play man. We get him down. You can see in some of the clips you're watching now. We'll get him down around the box. Really good pressure player. We'll bring him from the second or third level. And then he is an elite tackler. We talk all the time about finishing plays and getting guys on the ground. And I know some DBs may have the kind of the reputation of, well, he's just a cover guy, doesn't really like to hit anybody. We've almost at times got to back Devin off and make him play with a little more depth because he wants to get down in the box and put his pads on people. And so when you look at his size, you look at his speed, you look at his strength, and you look at his skill set, there's a reason he's as highly recruited as he was. And Oregon is getting an incredible football player.
And you speak about his versatility, Coach. I know that that's one of the best traits of his game. Cody Belair over at Rivals, he's one of our national analysts. He's been really high on Devin and just the start that he's had to his senior year. When you look at just the evolution of defensive backs now, it feels like we're finding more guys that are Devin's size, 6'2",
Yep.
North of 6 feet, closer to 200 pounds. Can you just talk about how you feel he kind of fits into where the game is going, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think as offensive evolution demands a response from defenses and vice versa. And when you start talking about um, what offenses are doing to stretch the field vertically and horizontally, how modern day offenses are using personnel to get the look they want, moving tight ends and H backs and big bodies around in space. Um, if you play in the secondary, you've got to be able to do more than one thing. And again, obviously, scheme that week and what the opponent's trying to do. We talk a lot about the more you're able to do, the more we're able to play you. And again, certain games may require you to do different things or certain opponents, but we want our guys to be able to play in the box, play out of the box, play up top, play down low, be able to play man coverage, be able to play zone coverage, because offenses are continually finding ways to try to stress defenders and really even trying to find ways to isolate defenders. 10 years ago with the RPO game coming into such uh, a wide use and a wide variety of ways to do that on offense. And you can identify players that maybe you want to read or take advantage of. We try to take conflict off of them. But the way you're able to defend those guys, a lot of that's based on what your kids can do. And when you get guys like Devin and some of the other guys we have, it gives you more tools in the tool belt, if you will. It gives you more answers to where, hey, if we need to fit the box a certain way, we've got to be able to play this coverage. If we're going to play a 7-man box, that's going to limit some of the stuff we're going to be able to run from a coverage aspect, or vice versa. So when you have guys like Devin's just as comfortable playing in the nickel position in the slot. Devin played all spring at corner on his 7-on-7 team and played out on an island all spring. And you have guys like that, it gives you more versatility. It gives you more depth in your playbook, and it allows you to have more answers as a coach to where you can hopefully put your best players in positions to go make plays. And that's kind of the way we're fortunate. We got a couple of them, but Devin's one of those guys. It's like, Like how can we make this work where Devin's unblocked, or Devin's going to be the guy covering their best guy, or Devin's going to be in the post if they're trying to attack the middle of the field. And we're fortunate he's able to do a lot of those things very, very well.
Great stuff there, Coach. Yeah, I love getting some more of the X's and O's kind of a breakdown and just how he benefits your defense over there at the First Academy. We even saw a clip of him returning a punt for over 50
Yep.
yards from last season. Those were the 2024 highlights just because it was more complete. So I decided to throw those on there.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to ask Coach just for Devin and some of the games you guys have played this year. I know that you got to face another Oregon commit and Xavier Larice with the First Academy playing O'Galley, excuse me, O'Galley last week in a big Orlando matchup. Just to speak a little bit, big picture, about Xavier going to the other side. What did you see from him, and what was kind of your evaluation of him as a player?
Man, I'll tell you what. The word I use to describe him is headache. He makes playing defense against him very hard. They at O'Galley, they've gone through. They got a quarterback that's a really good player that got injured. So he was playing a lot of like wildcat stuff for them and getting the ball in his hands. But when you look at his skill set, again, another well put together kid, thick, physical athlete. Played safety for them most of the night, played quarterback a lot of the night. But again, I think having seen, Devin and again, I've got a couple guys out on the Oregon staff that I feel like I'm good friends with and talk to. And when you look at kind of what they're looking for in a player and a prospect to compete, not just for a Big Ten championship, but a national championship, he's that kind of athlete. And obviously it speaks to his skill set where he's still able to go out and play coverage in the secondary, but his coaches and his teammates believe in him enough, man. Hey, our best option is to get the ball in this guy's hands and let him go make plays. And he made plenty of them. We're fortunate we got out of there with a win in a wet and windy, crazy kind of game. But he is a really, really good football player. I got to talk to him a little bit after the game. Seems like he's another great kid that's going to have a huge impact when he gets to Eugene.
Yeah, it was a 12-8 slugfest for you guys
Yeah,
last week, and I know that there was some weather at play there, as is often the case in the Sunshine State. Sometimes it's not
sure.
always that sunshiny, but that's a great perspective, Coach, because I know his versatility, like Devin, has been one of his greatest traits through his recruiting journey. Maybe a
Right.
guy who's not rated as highly as some other recruits, but I think he said it himself. I want to say like if he wasn't 5'10", like if he was 6 foot plus, like everybody would be after him. But he's already got like 40, 50 offers, I think it is. But
Yeah,
he certainly seems like a good one that the staff is super excited about.
yeah, and for good reason. Um, that's one thing as I've been in Florida for just a couple years. When you look at the quality and quantity of high level football players here, I can see now where some guys may fly under the radar a little bit because there's such a density of talent here. And yeah, the kid, he may not be 6 foot tall, but man, he sure does play like it. And he's a really, really good football player. And he's probably another one of those kids who he can probably do a lot of different things. And I know Coach Lanning and that staff will find the role that he fits best, but that kid's going to be an impact player too.
We'll have more on Oregon's efforts recruiting the state of Florida in just a minute, right after this. Duck fans, are you going to an Oregon game this season? If you are, the Oakway Lifestyle Center at the corner of Oakway and Coburg is the destination for Duck fans. Whatever you're looking for, they've got it all. Get a bite to eat at Sun River Brewing or PF Chang's. Check out shops like Lululemon or Nordstrom Rack. Need a place to stay? Book your lodging at the Hyatt Place at Oakway Center and visit their rooftop bar. The Oakway Lifestyle Center is walking distance from Autzen Stadium, has something for everybody, and is a great post-game place to celebrate another Duck victory. Welcome back to the Scoop Duck YouTube channel and the Ducks Dish podcast. Max Torres of Scoop Duck on 3 here with you on a Friday, talking with the First Academy defensive coordinator, Jacob Gill. Coach, I've really enjoyed the conversation so far and have a couple more questions before we send you on your way. Big matchup against Venice out there in Florida later on this evening. Florida is such an interesting spot to me because I'm all the way out here in California and I see all the talent on social
Mm-hmm.
media in that state. But Oregon hasn't always had that much success recruiting the Sunshine State. And I think a big part of it is distance. And you have the
Sure.
SEC programs that are kind of right there, that kind of have more access to that talent, if you will. I'd love to just hear from whatever you're cool sharing, just like what was it like being kind of alongside Devin as he was going through this journey, because he was committed to play for the in-state Gators not too long ago, and then now he's going to be playing his college ball on the other side of the country.
Yeah, I think you know, for as a high school coach, um, we want all of our kids who have opportunities. I think the number one thing we want for them is, hey, where's the best fit for you, and what are you what's going to make that the best fit? Is it location? Is it proximity to family? Is it a certain scheme or system or this certain position coach? Is it future development? Those type of deals. And so again, we try to walk alongside them in that journey. Obviously, we want that decision to be the kids' decision and with his family. But I think once Oregon kind of came into the picture and offered, and they started building that relationship with him, I think the interest level between the two was pretty mutual and it grew pretty quickly. And obviously, with what Oregon's done, really over the past 10 to 15 years as a whole, but also with what Coach Lanning's done in his short time there, and their track record, not just with recruiting and coaching games and winning games, but what they do to produce talent and how much of their talent goes on to the next level. It's a really attractive opportunity, and I think Devin, throughout his process, was prioritizing relationships and development. And so, where can I go where I have great relationships with the staff, and where am I going to go and get developed the best? And I think obviously Coach Lanning and his staff have a great track record of that. Coach Sepoy is the DC. Obviously, he's done a phenomenal job at all the stops he's been at. Um, and so I think Devin felt like, especially once he went out, I believe he went out sometime in the spring, like late spring, got to campus, took an unofficial, saw it, saw some practice or whatever, came back and said, I think I could see myself there. And so I think once he was able to get on the campus, get around the staff, get around the players, and experience what he would be walking into as he came back and started whittling down his choices, I think he felt that pull to, man, it's an incredible opportunity. You're playing in the Big Ten. You're going to be on a huge stage at Oregon with all the things that come with that. You're going to have the chance, if things go right, to compete for a national championship. And then if you go and you play and contribute and have success, then you got an opportunity to play after college. And I think all those things are things he was looking for. And I think Oregon checked virtually every box for him.
Certainly been fun seeing Oregon's pipeline to Florida continue to grow over the years. They've kind of only gotten one guy here or there each cycle. Gavin Nix was the guy last year, as well as Zaire Addison from the state of Florida. So they're continuing that with guys like Devin Jackson and Xavier Larice, who we just finished talking about. Coach, the last one I want to send you off on here is more of a big picture one, not quite related to Devin, but just the state of college football right now, the state of football in general is just wild to me. I feel
Mm.
like that's maybe a good way you could put it, is just wild. You have guys transferring all the time. You have name, image, and likeness and everything going on with, finances. But the game really, it starts like in the youth level, but like kind of starts with guys like yourself, right? At the high school level, you guys are seeing all of it, from people moving high schools to going through the recruiting process with colleges. Just what's your thought? I guess this is a loaded question, but what's your thought on kind of the state of college football right now, specifically as it pertains to the portal and NIL?
Yeah, I think it's that is a loaded question, so I don't even know where I'm going to go in my answer here. But I think you know some things trend up, some things trend down, and I think with more player movement, obviously with players being able to be compensated, you're starting to see college football transition more into like an NFL type structure. I think you're seeing that in the way colleges are staffed with a GM and a personnel department and a high school recruiting department, a portal recruiting department, and your on-field coaches and support staff and all of those things. And so I think as high school coaches, we're very much pro what is going to help benefit our kids the most, and we want them to be able to take advantage of those things, and we want them to be able to um, take advantage of the opportunities that they've earned throughout their youth and prep and high school careers. But it's also, as a coach, you feel for college coaches where it's like, man, I know the NCAA is talking about going to just one portal and trying to put a little bit of constriction on that. I think that's where I think we use our job of when we get a chance to visit with our kids about what their future looks like is, you know, what is the definition of success? What is the definition of good fit? And is this a decision you're making for the next 4 months? Is this a decision you're making for the next 4 years? Or is this a decision you're making for the next 40 years? And are you going to a place where they have I love the community. I could see myself living in that state for the next 4 years or 3 years, whatever it is. They've got the degree and program of study that I'm passionate about, so that if the football thing doesn't work out, I'm set up to go pursue a career in something that I'm interested in. For guys like Devin who have earned some additional opportunities, it's okay. Who's going to help walk me through what it looks like to manage these finances? Who's going to have a support system in place that's going to give me sound advice to not just take care of me in the interim, but help teach me like what does this look like moving forward, and how do I maximize the benefits I'm getting from these opportunities, and then again educating them. We try to educate our guys in our program. We're fortunate. Again, we've got some really good players who are going to some really good places, and that landscape is ever changing. And it feels that way. Like, man, oh, this rule just came out, or this is going to change, or whatever. And then obviously when you look at the coaching carousels, it seems like it's already started in college football. Coaches come and go, head coaches come and go, coordinators come and go, support staff comes and goes. And so, it's the wisdom and the decision of like, are you sure about your commitment, and are you sure this is where you want to be, knowing that the reality is the same staff that recruited you is probably not going to be the same staff in 4 years. I think, Coach Lanning would probably even say like he wants to keep all the good coaches he can, but part of being a head coach is you want to be in a system where your coordinators get chances to go earn opportunities to be head coaches, and your assistant coaches get opportunities to be coordinators. And so that part of football is not going to go away, where it's just staffs change and all those things. And so I think as a high school coach, it gets back to, hey, we're trying to help that kid the best that we can, obviously developing him on the field, but also trying to walk with him and his family as they go through this and say, hey, what is the best decision from a bigger perspective for you? And because and every kid's got different priorities. Some kids, I'm going to go to a place where I can play immediately. Okay, well that's a different standard. That's a different decision. Some kids, it's, man, I don't want to leave the state of Florida because my family's here. I want my mom and dad to be able to get to the game and all those things. Okay, great. Well, that limits your opportunities. And then you get some kids like Devin who have been recruited by everybody in the country, and he could probably go to most places in the country he wanted to go to and go, okay, what's the best spot for me? Where can I go that I'm going to get poured into by the coaching staff? I'm going to get challenged. I'm going to get pushed. That's another great thing I didn't say about him earlier. Man, you talked about being a coachable kid. Um, that kid is a sponge, and he's the one kid who every single day is in my office going, Coach, we need to watch more tape. Coach, we need to watch more tape. Coach, I want to watch. Get me back in the scouting report. So he's looking for a place that prioritizes things like that. And so I think in the ever changing world of high school and college athletics, it's trying to reinforce, okay, what are the things you can control? Okay, you do get a choice in this, and what are the non-negotiables for you? Okay, so if it's proximity, if it's relationships, if it's degree or whatever, those are things that are going to help you make a more informed decision, type of deal. And so again, it's just walking with those kids, and then obviously, you as a coach, you feel for some of the college coaches too, because you're having to recruit your own roster year over year.
Right.
You're gonna have kids, no matter how successful you are or aren't, who are gonna leave. You're gonna go get new kids. Those kids may work out, they may not, but by the time the dust settles and first weekend in August or first weekend in September, and you're playing games, everybody's gonna say, okay, you time to go win. And so the stress that those guys deal with, I think finding ways to continue to prioritize players, but also try to put some some guidelines and some guardrails in there um, for teams and staffs. I think is probably the direction I would like to see it go, where it's a little more consistent. So you don't have I don't know if it's good. I think I saw something today that Coach Saban was saying that every time a kid transfers, his chances of actually graduating and completing his degree goes down 20%.
Oh,
So you think about
interesting.
long range for kids, what's going to help them be successful. And so again, it's an ever changing world. The rules and regulations sometimes seem more gray than black and white. And so we just try to help where we can, give sound advice. Um, we're fortunate we have connections with a lot of staffs across the country just based on who's on our staff. We've been in different regions and different areas and have had players go play at different places. And so we try to vouch for the guys that we do know about. And if there's guys we don't know about, we try to get to know those guys. And we want to feel good about, hey, if this school came in and offered, man, that's a great place. That guy's a great coach. That guy's going to take care of you, that type of deal. Because sometimes we may have a better connection when a parent may know about it, or a kid may go, hey, I never really considered this school. What do you guys know? It's like, well, hey, I actually know a guy who recruited a kid 2 years ago. This guy's awesome. You're going to love it. And so we just try to be a sounding board. We try to give sound advice where we can. But we're about supporting them and helping them figure out what the best fit is for them. And man, we're just so excited that Devin's going to be at Oregon. Again, we try to keep up with as many guys as we can. I got a really good friend there on staff, and so I'm excited for him to get out there. And I think Oregon fans are going to be really excited when Devin Jackson gets on the field.
I'm sure excited to see him in an Oregon uniform myself. And from your answer, coach, it's just become more important than ever to surround yourself with the right people. I think that's one of the big takeaways from the state of where things are at right now with the sport. The last one I'll send you off on, coach. It's been an awesome pleasure getting you on the show. Just kind of wanted to give you the floor. Anything else you wanted to share about Devin or the First Academy and what you guys have going on out there in the Orlando area?
Yeah, man, we are. So we're kind of in year two of trying to kind of rebrand and rebuild our program a little bit. Um, we're trying to go out and find the best competition we can. That's why we're going to play a 7A school defending state champs on their home field tonight. That's why we played IMG in Milton, Georgia, and Phoenix Central out of Alabama to start the year. And we're playing some other perennial powerhouses down here in Florida. And I mean, we're fortunate that guys like Devin have that vision and see the value in competition. And it's kind of an old phrase, but if you want to be the best, you got to play the best. And that's kind of where we're trying to get to is, man, we're going to do everything we can. We're going to St. Francis in 2 weeks up in Baltimore. I think they're ranked in the top five. And go play those guys. And we want to get sharpened by the best programs in the country, and to see our school and our staff and our administration and our families getting around that vision of, man, we want to go do something special, and go play on a national level and truly go compete with the best of the best. It definitely helps when you got guys like Devin Jackson. That makes it more fun to go compete with those guys. But we're excited about where we're at. We're not where we want to be yet, but we're on the way, and a lot of that's due to guys like Devin, some other guys on our team who have bought into that vision because they're competitors. And I think that's one of the words I would use to describe Devin. Man, when it's time to go put the pads on and go compete, he's going to go compete. He's not worried about who he's lined up against. He's not afraid of anybody. But that guy is a high level competitor. And so when you get guys like that, you get to coach guys like that, it makes coaching really fun.
Great stuff, Coach. Great stuff. Well, really appreciate you coming on the show. Wish you the best of luck against Venice tonight out there in Florida. If you guys want to find more of me, you can follow me anywhere at mtorres sports. You can subscribe to the Scoop Duck on through YouTube channel and come and see us at scoopduck.com. Join our community of Oregon fans and do us a favor and share the Ducks Dish podcast with your friends, with your family, and with other Duck fans. One more thank you to Coach Gill for coming on, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode of the Ducks Dish podcast.